a setting for that. So I'm not really sure what the deal is.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone and the, what is today? Thursday night live stream. I wonder if it's in here.
That's the same button.
That is the same button. We're backwards tonight, so we're trying to figure out why that is, but I don't know why that is.
What are those people?
What are those people? That's for interviews.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later. We'll just be backwards tonight. I'm on that side and she's on this side, but she's on that side and I'm on this side. So it's kind of one of those deals. Well, I'm back in Georgia this week, and that means you're back with me. So that's awesome.
I guess I did miss a week.
You did. You missed me for a week, too.
Was it just last week?
It was just last week.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been a long couple weeks. So, for all of you who are waiting on stuff, we shipped a bunch more P90s today. A bunch more orders. You probably saw the stack on Instagram or on Facebook. We made a bunch more P90s this evening. Things are cranking. Things are going really good around here. We're having a lot of fun. We have some questions that came in from Patreon tonight. There's actually a bunch of them. And we are also going to talk about this. So here's what I want you to know from you. I'd like to know if any of you in the comments have a custom shop guitar and what you think of it. From any of the brands. You know, whether that's a private stock PRS, custom shop Fender, custom shop Gibson, and what you think of it. Let me know in the comments. Because this whole thing, I think some of the conversations that Matt and I have been having, about what is the difference between a, $8,000 custom shop guitar versus a $1,500 or $1,800 American-made regular guitar or a regular Les Paul, and is it worth it? And it might not be worth it to some people, but I think it's just a matter of perception and the amount of work that goes into something. And so just want to get your thoughts on that, and we'll chat about it in a few minutes. But we do have a bunch of questions. Before we get to all the questions, you will also be able to use a super chat. We will drop what we're doing and answer those right away. We will also be talking about guitar stuff till 9 o'clock, and then we're going to go off topic. So if you have any off-topic questions, you can put it in the chat over there, and Leslie will flag those for use later in the live stream. Before we even talk about any of that, I have a thing that I want to show you, and I didn't tell you that I did this.
Me?
Well, you knew I made it today.
Oh.
You knew I made this. Now, we used to make these. The clear... Come on. Focus, focus, focus. We used to make... Here, let me just do it this way. I got it. Okay. We used to make the clear humbucker. And this is a clear humbucker. And they are available for a limited time at Dylan Talks Tone. The link is below in the description. And you can also go to the website, and I think it's on the front page about halfway down. Now, the way we did this, instead of adding an individual page for every model, basically what I did is I made one model for the clear humbucker, okay? And then, I think somebody just ordered one. The clear humbucker, and then you can pick what position. So neck, middle, bridge. And then there's another drop down for what model of our humbuckers you want it made in. So instead of doing all this crazy complicated stuff, you just say, I want a neck Super 8 in this pickup. I want a DAF in this pickup. I want it whatever. They're all 50 millimeter. So yeah, there you go. We have a limited number of them, and you should have some. This one's going in Gary's purple guitar.
That's going to look good.
Yeah, that's going to look really good. chameleon purple guitar. So, there you go. I wonder who bought the first one. Because I bet that's who it is. Keith Holmes. Thanks, Keith. I wonder if he's watching right now. It's the only... Oh, maybe he's on Patreon, too, because I posted it on Patreon a few months ago, or a few minutes ago. So, anyway, cool, dude.
Well, Gary just said, hey, I don't know if he heard your...
Oh, yeah, Gary. So, well, it's funny because I posted this yesterday, and Gary said, oh, those would look good in a certain guitar. And I was like, I was already kind of thinking that. Actually, I built this one for that guitar. I just got to build the other one. I built one for pictures, and then we'll get going on the rest of it. So, your guitar build and video is probably going to be worked on next week, and we're going to get it sorted out. So there you go. Clear humbuckers. Limited time on the website. Probably take about 3 weeks or so to ship, depending on how we get cranking through all of this stuff. What does DAF stand for?
Go ahead.
You say it.
No, you can say it, but that's not the order in which we're grabbing questions.
Sorry. Yeah.
But go ahead.
Dylan applied for. It was not my idea. Somebody else named it. All right. Well, let's get into some of these questions over here.
Keith H. said, sorry I'm late. I was buying a pickup.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool, Keith. First one to buy that off of this run, so that's very cool. Yeah, well, let's get into these Patreon questions. Some of them are going to go pretty quick, I think. But we'll get ripping through them, and then we're going to talk about fun stuff. Well, maybe not that one.
Patrick, good morning. Good morning?
Good.
Dylan and Leslie.
Maybe that's when he posted it.
Two are doing good. I was thinking about your video yesterday. I was looking at some of the new line from Squire at Sweetwater, maybe a project for your channel. That Squire Sonic Esquire electric guitar, ultraviolet with one pickup. Do you think your P90, the one that has the purple wire on top, would work on this guitar? Can't stop looking at that pickup for some reason. Take care for now. Just for now. Not in general, just take care for now.
That pickup would work in that guitar, and that is going to be the next thing that we get to. I've been working on this clear humbucker thing that I actually didn't tell anybody about it, and it didn't leak out. So the clear humbucker thing's been in the works for longer, so we're going to do that first, and then we're going to get to that purple stuff here pretty quick.
All right, I have to read.
Super chat?
It's a super sticker.
Oh, nice.
Lemon character taking his sunglasses off and raising his arm to greet someone, imitated by Baby Lemon.
Wait, what does it look like? Oh my god. It's funny because this is all we get. We don't actually get the sticker, so we have to look at our phone.
But by displaying it, I guess they get to read it too, right? Like
super funny. I love it. I love it when you guys share those. They're really funny.
Yeah. All right,
all
ready?
right, yeah, next question.
Nope. Just kidding. Doc, keeping all other things equal, do you think that the manner in which the neck is attached, bolt-on versus glued versus neck through, would make a discernible difference in the sound of an electric guitar? If so, which Don, that's his name, which do you feel is the best method?
I don't care. There will be people that will argue this till they are blue in the face, but I don't care. I think this is one of those things that you could make yourself believe any which way you want on it. I look at the construction of an instrument for different reasons. Matt and I were talking about this last week because we were working on set neck stuff. Actually, my Firebird that I built last week, we were gonna set the neck and we ended up bolting it on because it was easier. Does it change the sound of the guitar? No. I mean, it just doesn't. Do we want to do a neck through? They're really, really hard and they're expensive and they take a lot of labor and for what? For what reason? An SG makes sense if it was neck through, for sure. There are certain guitars, because of the way they're made and the construction of them, that it would make sense to build them that way. But I think tonally, that's not the reason. I think it's more about executing the instrument. What is the best way to execute the build of this guitar? Is probably a more important question. On an acoustic guitar, it's a totally different thing because you're worried about the movement of wood and the movement of air, and strength for how easy you want the wood to move. You don't want the guitar to be rigid. So an acoustic guitar is a whole different ball game. But with an electric guitar, I don't really care.
James, with a Dylan P90 in the neck, which Dylan humbucker would go best in the bridge?
Either a DAF or a center punch, I would say. A clear one.
Donovan.
Hey, Donovan.
Do you have an opinion on the Tonewood amp?
Is that the... Okay. So there's a brand called Tonewood. But I don't think that's what you're talking about. Let me just make sure. If you're talking about the thing that you stick to the guitar to make it vibrate, to make it sound older, I think it's a load of bull-oni.
This is amp, though.
I know, it's a thing that you stick to the back of the guitar. Unless it's the one... Oh, if it's the multi-effects processor that makes it like reverb and stuff, I think it's really cool. I think it's kind of gimmicky. I don't necessarily know that I would use it for anything serious, except for playing around in the living room, but I think it's really cool. If you're talking about the Tonewood excitery thing that you put on the back of an acoustic guitar to like break it in, I think it's a bunch of BS. And I know I have a friend who thinks it's the coolest thing in the world, and it totally makes a difference, and I think he's full of crap.
It makes them feel good and want to play.
I know, but I tried to get one, and they wouldn't even sell it to me because they knew.
Zoltan.
Yeah.
Hi, Leslie and Dylan. Forgive the European Philistine, and Leslie, forgive me for using the word Philistine. But what on earth is the 73 finish?
I know, but I can't tell you. It's not my thing to tell.
What's the deal with all the UV fillers and paints at TTG? How does that work? Thanks and cheers. And why?
It's really cool.
Zoltan is on the and why?
Apparently. It's really cool stuff. It's so the wood filler is like hair gel sort of looking stuff, and you rub it in with it's about the consistency of hair gel, and you rub it into the wood. And then you wipe it off nice and clean so you don't have to sand it. And then you hold a UV light over it, and it fills all the pores of the wood in nice and smooth so that you don't have like that suck-in look of
Does that mean you
wood
can
grain.
use less paint?
It means that you get a flatter finish. Like okay, so like on that guitar, the grain is bumpy sort of. Mm-hmm. But on the Les Paul, it's smooth. The way you get the smooth is you make a better effort to fill the grain in so the top surface of the wood is smooth. And then the finish cannot soak into the wood anymore. Yeah, and it's pretty cool. And then the clear coat that they use it's just UV cure stuff. Basically, you hold a UV light over it, and it cures the finish.
So my understanding is it's like hours versus week, right? Like there's
no minutes.
Time. There's a time factor is why, right? Like
yeah, because you spray the guitar. I think you wait 30 minutes, and then you go in there with this light bulb for literally 5 minutes, and it is hard enough to sand and buff. Instead of 36 hours or weeks with nitrocellulose finish. And it's just as thin, it's just as, tone wood nerdy as all kinds of other finish, because it's basically just Simtech, but the formulation of it is such that it will cure. There's been glues and stuff for years and years that have that. I used to use, when I had my cell phone repair company.
Nail polish.
Nail polish, Yep. When I had my cell phone repair company, we would glue screens onto phones with UV cure stuff. The gel would go on there, same kind of gel stuff. You'd stick the screen on, and then I had like this kind of strong flashlight, and you would run it over it, and it would be hard as a rock, like that quick. If you left it out in the sun, it would have to be contaminant free for hours and hours and hours. This thing's way stronger than the sun. But yeah, nail polish. You put your hands under those things and it cures it. Same exact stuff. I mean, obviously formulated for finishes, but same technology. Pretty neat. I think it's cool. It's great to work with afterwards.
Robert, is there a target date for the mesh covers? If you're willing to take an order with a $40 ad, I can wait a little. Thank you both.
We may do that next week or the week after next. I'm working on it.
Rob, are you aware of a source for P90 mounting hardware? I'm looking for something similar to what Gibson uses with their soap bar P90s to go with your pickups and my Mustang. Thank you.
I think it's a number 2 by 1.5 Phillips head. You can get them on Amazon, but it's a number 2 by 1.5. That's the measurement that you need.
That was as quick as I was?
Mm-hmm.
James, 2 questions. 1, if a single coil pick has 2 windings to create a coil tap, what would the effect be if the 2 windings were wound in opposite directions?
It wouldn't work. They would cancel each other out.
2.
I tried it once.
Well, 2, what is the effect if the coil tap uses 2 different gauge wires?
Oh, that's cool. You would have a wildly different value of pickup. I've thought about doing that, actually. That'd be an interesting one. I would use 43 in the middle and 42 on the outside. That's what I would do. That's a really neat idea.
Super chat from Keith H. Thank you for the super chat, Keith. He says, P90 in the neck, center punch in bridge, clear. Just what I was thinking. No hurry, you're busy.
Oh, cool.
Is that what he ordered? Is that what
I think he only ordered 1 pickup, but...
Do you need to make a note of this request?
Bridge. Oh, maybe he already has 1.
Oh, did he ask
because
about
he just
the P90
asked about
in the
this.
neck?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He did.
So he wants a center punch.
So maybe
clear.
he has a P90 already.
So what he ordered?
He ordered the clear... he ordered a clear center punch.
Okay.
For the bridge. That's a great idea. If you already have the P90, that's a great idea. Yep, he's the one that just ordered that. Okay, perfect.
I just want to make sure you have the right information.
Thank you for the super chat also, Keith.
Yeah. Ivan. Power's been out since 2:30 yesterday afternoon. Cell service sucks where I live, so I may not be able to join in.
And I heard from him recently in the last hour that his power is still out and he's going to have to stay in a hotel. So...
I thought...
Sorry we missed you, man.
So I'm actually friends with him online, and I saw... You know, when you see things like that, you just assume it's going to be temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like this candelabra, and he's like having coffee with his wife in the dark. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet. Like, I hope his power comes back on soon. And I didn't think anything else about it.
But it appears to be
days.
It appears to be days.
I hope it's not cold.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, how cold it is. That's the sucky part.
It's not cold here. James, what does the shape of the pickup's magnetic field do to tone?
Oh, that's a good question. The best example I can give you for the difference between what it can do to tone is a bridge pickup on a Stratocaster versus a bridge pickup on a Telecaster. That metal plate on the bottom of a Telecaster changes the shape of the magnetic field because it makes it kind of spread out on the bottom. And it changes where the inductance happens in the coil. So, if the what's the easiest way to say this? If the magnetic field is very centered to the coil, the inductance happens in the center of the coil. If you can make that magnetic field spread out further into the coil, the pickup will sound different because where the inductance happens in the coil is different. So you do that by a couple ways. One, the type of magnets that you use. So like the pole pieces in, like for example, if we were to put regular Stratocaster style pole pieces in this humbucker right here, it would sound different because the shape of the magnetic field would be different. But since we have a bar underneath here and 2 rows of steel poles, then it sounds different because we changed the shape of the magnetic field. It's a principal reason, one of the principal reasons why a real wide range humbucker sounds different than a regular humbucker. Yeah. Couple of good examples there. Done.
Super chat from Doc Siltonen. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you.
One of the pickups in the box I sent you has 41 and 43 gauge wire wound on the same P90. The Gemini 1/3 pickup is the one. The other Gemini has 2 different magnets in it, 4 and 8. Fun experiment.
I fully plan to actually do a video where we play all of those pickups back to back and hear the differences between them all. Because that's really, really cool. And that and talk about the measurements, because I measured everything too. Well, you had them all written down and I measured them too. Really interesting results with that, Doc. So for those that don't know, Doc came to one of our, or a couple of our, pickup winding workshops and learned how to wind pickups. And so he's been doing a bunch of experimenting at home with his own Mojo Tone winder, and he sent me some stuff to try. So
they may have known that if they watched Texas Toast last hour.
Oh yeah, because he wound a set of pickups for Jim too.
Yes.
Yeah, really cool. I love it when people learn this stuff. So thanks for the super chat, Doc, by the way.
All right. You have a topic? You want more questions? You want more
let's get into some more questions
there
and thoughts from there.
There were some people that were talking about. Shenanigans said, just got a Harley Benton BM75 Red Special Tribute by Brian May. It's beautiful and plays awesome.
Cool.
Octopus Ear says, I just ordered a Kiesel yesterday and got $900 in free upgrades.
Oh, wow. So cool. Yeah, Kiesel's a neat way to get like a custom shop style, build your spec for a reasonable amount of money, right? That's a really cool deal.
Gary Simmons, I would put a PRS core as an equal to a FCS and non-Murphy Labs Gibson.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny because people do... one of the reasons I brought this up is because there was a bunch of comments on the news video yesterday. I would never spend $15,000 for a flying V because it's just a V, whatever, custom shop. I get it. I totally get it. I think what happens is it's whether you have an appreciation for the work that went into a custom shop guitar or not. If you are not the kind of person that appreciates that or values it or likes it, then don't buy a custom shop guitar. Custom shop instruments are worth what they cost if you value the time that it took to do the work, because these guys it is unbelievable the amount of work that it takes to build those guitars. They do not just slap them together. They take a long time. And they're like imperfect on purpose. Like they do them a certain way. I've seen a lot of those processes, and it is really, really time intensive. So if you value that and enjoy that, then it would definitely be worth it to you. But I think there's a lot of people that just like getting comments and are almost disparaging to the people that, because don't forget, the Fender Custom Shop has like a 4-year waiting list. The Gibson Custom Shop sells the stuff faster than they can make it. So there are folks that really value that. And so don't get in the. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm gonna tell you what to do. Don't get in the comments, and that's stupid. People that buy that stuff are stupid. They're not. They just value a different thing about the instrument than you do, which is totally fine. I mean, I don't have one because, well, I would. I really want the Mike McCready Stratocaster. That's what I really would like to have, but I have other things that I would rather spend $15,000 on than a guitar. But I would own it if I could, justify spending the money. But I can't. But I do value it, and I don't disparage the work that goes into it because it is work. And I think we got in a conversation on Facebook yesterday, and people were like, well, there's no reason why, and somebody said in the comments on a YouTube video too, there's no reason why these guitars should be X amount of money. Everything should be $1,200. There shouldn't be anything more than that. And I think we're just losing. I don't know. I just spent a week building guitars, and it's one of the reasons why I think everyone should do it. Because you look at everything differently. You look at how much, not just guitars, but you look at how much stuff costs differently. It's at least quality made by somebody or somebody, you can get anything on Amazon and not know where it comes from and not care, and it can be $9.99 and whatever, it shows up in your house it shows up at your house in 2 days. But for the thing that you really care about, that you want to know where it was made, you want to know who made it and all that kind of stuff, there is value to that. And so understanding the work that goes into this stuff. And just because you have a CNC machine doesn't mean that everything just takes 5 minutes. And don't forget the value of a $250,000 Haas CNC machine. And the ability that the company that owns that machine needs to go to, or the lengths that they have to go to stay solvent. All those things have value. So it's just an interesting thing. There was a lot of comments about that yesterday, and I was like, we should talk about that. Like, it's just a matter of what you value in the instrument. And if you don't, that's okay. I have a lot of friends that really like custom shop Fenders and really like custom shop Gibsons because they like how they feel. And they feel kind of the way I do, that I'm not going to live long enough to age a guitar myself, so I'm just going to buy an aged one, Which is really an interesting, thing. Brad Guitar Miller.
Brad Guitar Miller, thank you for the super chat. Can you expound on future pickup winding class?
But first, let me take a drink. Barrel Dovetail. Just got this a couple days ago. It's a bourbon. Future pickup winding classes. Right now, we have one in August that is part of a Strat workshop that I heard has one spot in it, and I don't know if it still has one spot in it, but as of an hour ago, it still had one spot. There's one in October that is also part of a Strat workshop, because we're doing 2 of those Strat workshops, because the first one sold out almost immediately, and I think somebody canceled is what happened. There's like 2 spots left maybe in the one in October. And then we are going to do the Build a Fancy Guitar with Dylan, whatever they call it, the one we just did, in March of next year, March of 2024. And that one only has 3 spots left in it. That one's half sold out already. So there you go. There's a rundown.
And no standalone classes are scheduled yet.
Correct. We're not going to do those, I don't think. Not in Denver. It's too hard.
Right. I thought you were going to do them in Nashville.
Working on that. Trying to find a time to do it is the problem.
Super chat from Jeffrey Egan. Thank you for the super chat, Jeffrey. Do you consider TTG/boutique guitars, quote, custom shop?
I think they are definitely boutique instruments.
I think he's saying when you say custom shop, are you including boutique?
No, so
builders too? Okay.
I was about to explain that.
Sorry.
I think, and I think this is what should be explained. There are production models by boutique builders, such as the Challenger that they make, such as these Strats that they make. They are production models. You can call them up, you can order one, and you can get one in a reasonable amount of time. They also have a custom shop portion of their shop that is more for one-off stuff. We do the same thing. You know, if you order anything from Dylan Talks Tone that we make all the time, it is a production version of what we make. If you want that crazy purple top pickup, that I consider that custom shop, and we charge more for it because we have to go out of our way and spend extra time and hand time that we don't normally spend to make that product. I think any shop, whether it's a boutique instrument shop or whatever, has a custom shop component to it that goes above and beyond whatever their production instruments are. Knives are the same thing. You know, they'll have, like, this is a Medford. This is a production model. You can just buy it on the website, even though it is a boutique knife. But then he will do custom shop versions of this knife that come in special finishes, special whatever, right? And they're only short runs and that kind of stuff. So I think that should be explained. I don't think just because it's not a big brand doesn't make it custom shop. I think each shop kind of has their own little custom section. And maybe they don't. Maybe they only do production instruments, because I know people that do that too. Yeah. Good question.
Super chat from Andrew House. Thank you for the super chat, Andrew. Hey, can a neck pickup be used in the bridge or vice versa? Thanks.
Yep. As long as it sounds good, it is good.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
All right. Steve Rezer. Dylan, you missed Sean Tubbs last night at Flipside Music. You look like you were on the correct side here. They don't know if we're on the wrong side or not.
Oh. Sean Tubbs is at Flipside? That's pretty neat.
That's what they said. He said.
It's pretty cool. He's a cool guy.
Paul McNary says, I have several custom shop Skeeter Max. I think that's what he calls his guitars. Skeeter Max.
No, that's cool.
Curtis Chavez. Dylan, how did that non-reverse Firebird style custom feel on a strap? I used to hate the non-reverse Firebird, but my tastes have changed and now I'm intrigued.
You know, I didn't play it on a strap, but I will tell you that it was not going to neck dive at all, because the neck was... When you do a set neck 22 fret as opposed to a neck through, like the neck through Gibson style, it changes the balance of the guitar completely, and it was awesome. I mean, I could sit with it on my lap and it didn't feel weird. You know, if you ever played a Firebird and it feels like the guitar's in the wrong place and it's like sticking way out on one side, this did not feel like that at all. Yeah, pretty cool.
Styrene Builds. What I want to know is why pickups are so expensive.
You should come to one of our pickup winding workshops, and here's what I will say. To a man, every person who has ever come to one of these workshops and tried it themselves have all said in one way or another, I will never complain about how expensive these things are again, because they are not easy to make. And anybody who's been to one of these workshops, if you're in the comments, feel free to share your thoughts about that. But it is not for everybody to try to make these things. It's not easy. I mean, anybody who has experience doing something can make it look easy. You could watch my video and be like, well, anybody could do that. And you're right. Anybody can do it. However, can you do it the same way twice? Can you do it consistently across a whole run of pickups to make them sound right? Ask Doc. He's in the comments. He actually told me the other day, he's like, this is a pain in the ass, and I think I'm done messing with this for a while. So I think people take for granted how difficult things are to do. Yep. Everything sounds like a great idea until you actually have to do it. I think that is somebody, or something like that. Somebody said that in one of those classes when it was actually one of those guys in one of those classes when as he is trying to execute a design in his guitar that he was trying to make that ended up being too hard, when somebody told him you should just stay with something easy. All the stuff is way harder than it looks.
Doc says, yep, it's way harder than you think. Worth every penny you have to pay for your pickups. Mm-hmm. Angel Raven 444 says, pickups are expensive because it takes 2 days to wind a pickup. But there's an eye roll emoji, so I'm not sure what that means. And Patrick H, sorry, I just mixed up two different names. Keith H says, I bet the wire is cheap, LOL.
It doesn't take 2 days. I'll tell you right now. To wind a Strat pickup, it takes me 11 minutes. Now that I've wound almost 15,000 pickups, it did not take me that at the beginning. And when I train somebody who's never done it before, not only may they not even complete a pickup, B, it might not sound awesome, C, if they make another one, it will not sound the same as the second one. And you need 3 of those in a Strat. You don't pay, and you've heard this cliche before, you don't pay for the 11 minutes, and it takes me more than 11 minutes to make a pickup. I mean, there's pressing the bobbins together, there's insulating the bobbins, there's magnetizing the magnets. We actually hand grind some of our magnets for some of our custom shop stuff. There's soldering the leads, there's wax potting. It is not a 10-minute process. It's a couple hours. And so let's just I don't need to give you an hourly rate. When you go to the car dealership and you get your oil changed and it's $129 and you know that there's $60 worth of stuff in there, where does the other $60, $70 go? It goes to whatever the shop rate is. It's the same thing here. If we have $40 worth of parts in a pickup and the pickup is $120 and it takes me 2 or 3 hours to make that pickup, all total, I mean, how much money does it take to get you out of bed in the morning? That's what you ask yourself, and then you look at a pickup and go, that's what I have to do to get out of bed in the morning. And go to work and make my day worth it. I mean, that's what we all do. It just applies different to different products. Whatever you do for a living, you charge the appropriate hourly rate, and then you figure that out for your business and you charge that, right? That's what that is. They would be more expensive. Honestly, they would be more expensive if I had anything to do with it. But there are we've not raised prices in 4 years. And with inflation the way it's going right now, I have every right to raise prices. But I don't want to because I see what the market is doing and I see how hard it is for, it is what it is. So we're trying not to. I wish everything was 40% more expensive than it is now based on the work and the hours and the money that we have into all this stuff. But it's not reasonable in the market, so you just kind of leave it alone. And we try to do the right thing for our customers too. So, yeah. It's hard to do. It is definitely, and it's hard to manage. And somebody's got to pay the money for all that we have the amount of inventory that we have to control, all those kinds of things. There's a lot of not actual pickup part things that become an expense when you are trying to do it for as many people as we do it for. You know, we shipped, I don't know, 50 this week. So to maintain that, you know, costs a thing. So, yeah. And I think maybe people that ask those questions sometimes don't run their own businesses either to think about that. So I try to be really transparent about it and super kind in the way that I explain it so that you understand it. But it's an important thing to know, especially because we're talking about this whole thing with custom shop stuff and the time that go into a guitar and that kind of thing. These are all the things you don't think about when you're like, that guitar is way too expensive. Well, is it really though? Because it costs money to do stuff in 2023, you know? I mean, it's cheaper than eggs. Fortunately, we don't eat eggs.
I was going to say, what do you know? What do you think eggs cost right now?
I don't know, but if we ate them, our pickups would have to be more expensive. I do know that. So we are saving
Lucky
you money.
For you. Oh, that's funny.
Yep.
All right.
Our pickups would be more expensive if we ate eggs.
Sunbase. Hey, Dylan. Sweet looking pickup. What are the bobbins made of?
ABS, I think. Mm-hmm.
Adam Knox. Clear single coil telly bridge pickup? Question mark.
We tried it. It was really difficult. It's really hard to make flat work out of Lexan and make it stable. We did a run of them about 5 years ago. And I'm sure those pickups are fine. They're in people's guitars all over the world. You know, we probably made 100 of them. But the production time was so high on them to keep them stable that it wasn't worth doing.
Curtis Chavez, I would lose my mind if they made a see-through P90 dog ear.
We did that a couple years ago, too. There's probably only a dozen of those in the world that we made, and it was the same problem. If I could figure out a way to produce those with less headache, I would definitely do it. Because everybody would buy them. They would be the bombest sell. Everybody would love them. But it was really, really hard to do. But maybe I should look into it again.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
You have a lot more experience since then.
It's true. And technology has changed.
It was funny when you posted, like, the reactions, because I'm like, that's where we started.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
our very first,
it's going backwards to me.
Our very
it's
first
like
center
OG
punches.
Pickups.
Yes, because our very first center punches were clear.
Yeah.
Because we used to actually make them two different colors, and they were purple, and we may do that actually. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make them.
Do like an OG.
I should do
anniversary
like an anniversary. Well, it's coming on 10, so
yeah, there you go.
It's coming on 10. Maybe we will do an anniversary run of center punches and make them like the originals. That's a really cool idea, actually.
Get some OG stickers.
Mm-hmm. We have some.
Speaking of stickers, you need to get me
a list of everybody with pick guards. I thought of it today.
And stickers, and I'll do the rest.
We have, yes, and I was going to talk to you about that. I'd like you to hold off for a week because I just got an email, and we might design some special ones up.
Okay.
Do some cool stuff, yeah.
Well, Patrick's been waiting all this time. I'm sure he
can
wait.
Yeah, we've got some. I've got some stuff in the works to up the swag game again.
What if you get the first of a new run, Patrick?
Yeah, we're gonna. I just got an email yesterday about a new design of sticker that I would like to apply and share. Yeah, so.
Martin, I can't read. Martian Murray. Can you make the clear humbucker with the reverse magnet to get out of phase sounds?
Yeah, and actually, all you do is wire it backwards. All you would do to do that is when you order our pickups, there's a little card in there and it has a scan thing that you scan with your phone, and it opens up a web page with all of the wiring diagrams. And on it, it would tell you to the center link would be, oh, you want to do out of phase with another pickup. All you would do is just switch the red and the white, and it would run backwards. But if you want us to flip the magnet in it, like the Peter Green thing, I can totally do that too. We actually just did that for somebody. I think we shipped their pickups yesterday. They put a special request in to flip one of the magnets in a pair. They ordered a pair of pickups, and we flipped the magnet to make it like the Peter Green thing. I could totally do that for you. There's a few different ways to do it, but I can.
Oh, Mike Ford is in the comments. He said he just wound P90s at Texas Toast with Dylan last week.
He did. He actually came out, and they came out good. They came out good. Mike Ford made a neat guitar. It was a double cut Les Paul kind of thing, but it wasn't like a Les Paul. It was like a... Well, we took the Batfish and flipped it 180 and made these little horns. It was really cool. He said he never wanted to sand a double cut again, though. Speaking of people...
I did watch that.
...who appreciate how hard it is to do all this stuff. He was like, I don't think I'm ever going to do frets again in my life ever. And he's like, the other thing I learned is if I ever do this again, I'm not going to put two horns on the guitar because it's so hard to sand in there. Like, these are things you take for granted when you complain about how much a guitar costs. Like, you ask for an extra feature, but then that extra feature needs to be executed when you build a guitar, and it takes X amount of hours to execute that feature. Like, and these guys that are doing it are like, dang, this is harder than I thought, or I thought I wanted a certain thing, but now I'm doing it. It's harder than I thought. Like, a real appreciation for how much more difficult it is to do this stuff, which is really cool.
All right. We have 12 minutes and 32 things. So
Lightning round.
We're going to have to start talking faster.
Less. Lightning round.
All right. Not all of them are questions. Gary Redburn said, sweet, I probably need another pair for a different guitar.
Excellent.
Cecil Music, will the real Bigsby B5?
Please stand up.
I read it that way when I saw it the first time. As Bryson came over here looking like Slim Shady.
I know.
Will the real Bigsby B5 cover up any mismatching screw holes of the licensed B50?
It should. Yes, it should.
Shenanigans, hello. Will removing springs from the mounts on the saddles make any difference?
Yeah, because the saddle will start to move around. You need that tension in there. I saw that question somewhere today, and I was going to address it. I don't know where I saw it. I'm sorry if I missed it. But yes, you have to have those in there. Otherwise, every time you tune the guitar, the saddle will slide around. Yep.
James Howell, have you tried the Super Switch yet?
No, because it didn't fit in the guitar that I was going to build it in. So we have two other project guitars that we're going to use them in, a Tele and a Strat.
Mike Ford said, I'm starting to walk back the anti-double cut thing since the guitar is so cool.
That's awesome.
It's like having a kid. Like, oh, you forget how terrible it was. Let's do it again.
But still, he appreciates how hard it is and has to value that when making that decision.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Sean Joint, can I get 2 clear humbuckers with rail pole pieces?
Nope.
Martian Murray, I heard bolt-on has better sustain, but who needs 45-second notes?
Amen to that. And I have a PRS, and it don't sustain for 45 seconds. So there.
Vox Guitars Rock, regarding the new Squires you talked about in your podcast, how hard would it be to put in a push-pull so I can split the humbucker on their Esquire model?
Ooh.
And would you think that's worthwhile?
That'd be awesome. Push-pull, center punch, clear. Yes.
New Gun Guy, my opinion, if you're willing to pay Fender custom shop money to get them to make your very own signature guitar, it's worth it.
Yep.
Curtis Chavez, has anyone else seen the Brian May Vox new tube and headphone amps? Demos sounded great.
We just featured them in our news yesterday.
James Howell, is there a connector I can use to swap out loaded pick guards without soldering each time?
I have used... What are they? The little L... If somebody else can remind me... The little L bracket ones for RC car batteries, they're the red L ones. They're gold. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, those.
Dwayne KO4VNX, what's the deal with PAF pickups? What exactly are they?
They're just the first humbucker that came out in 1956 or 7.
Patent applied for.
Patent applied for. Yep.
Vox Guitars Brock, I really want an Esquire to get my, quote, Luther Perkins on, but the new Squire has a humbucker. Grr.
Well, just buy the regular Telly one and take the neck pickup out and put a Esquire wiring in it. If you want to do that, email me and I'll tell you how to do it.
Adam Knox, I think a lot of the stuff coming out of the Gibson demo shop is extremely cool. All sorts of special finishes, hardware, etc.
Right? Very cool stuff.
Doc Stiltonen, I have a custom-made Everett Dreadnought and 2 Texas Toast guitars with another on order. I absolutely think they are worth every penny.
Yeah, their stuff is really good.
Rob F. Dylan, for your P90s, I'm looking for flat metal plates that hold and line up springs with the 2 mounting screws. I've seen them on some Gibson Les Pauls, but cannot find a source to purchase them.
I don't use springs in brackets because I think they're too springy and I think they move around too much. So I use cut-up flip-flops. They work awesome. Or go to AutoZone and buy the cheapest square door, like what you would put on the bottom of a camper shell, so it doesn't don't get the moldy kind that's all fancy. Get like the cheap kind that's just a square foam block in a roll and cut that up and stick it in there. And you can put 2 pieces in and then the screws go down between it. It's nice and squishy. Works awesome.
Robert Wilkinson said, as long as it sounds good, it is good. Gotta put that on a shirt, Dylan.
It's the truth, man.
Rusty Shackelford says, can you let us know about 2 weeks before you do raise prices? Wink, wink.
Nope.
Oh my goodness. He also said, clear center punch with LEDs showing which coils are on. Too far.
We did the LEDs before. For a custom shop deal out of Las Vegas. Yep. I traded them for this tattoo. Actually.
Yeah. Armando Lopez. I have an SG that has 1C braided wire pickups and a harness that also has braided wire. If I wanted to replace the stock pickups with 4C wire pickups, do I have to resolder the whole harness?
You shouldn't have to, no. Nope. You should not have to.
This looks like an extension question about the not soldering, I'm assuming.
Okay.
Joshua Grombacher says, Dylan, are you referring to Kyosho or Tamiya plugs?
Yeah, the old red ones. I cannot remember what they're called.
That didn't ring a bell for you, though?
No.
Shark
But yes.
Air, have you ever played through a Rocktron IntelliFlex rack mount?
I have. Old school stuff.
Eddie Jr., Dylan, do you think there's any truth to a pickup sounding better with age, such as smoothing out, etc.?
Nah.
David Mitchell, any updates on the Firebird pickup?
Yeah. Actually, the parts are on order to build the next ones. I bet they'll be on the website in the next month.
Angelo Laron, can you or anyone explain active pickups compared to passive pickups?
Active pickups are just regular coils. Like a EMG, all it is a mini humbucker suspended in epoxy. We cut one apart a couple weeks ago. But it has an amplifier built into it, a preamp built into the pickup inside there. And so it just makes way more voltage. And it, of course, the preamp shapes the tone some, and that's why they sound the way they do.
Solano Speed Shop says, I finally finished the bass build with your 51P bass pickup.
Saw that.
Love the sound. Much better than the other producer I used on the last one I built. Surprisingly quiet.
Oh, good. Thank you for telling me that.
Paul Need says, still waiting for that video on the Peter Green pickup.
Peter Green pickup. Okay.
All right. Windsurf Maui, serious question. Do you wind pickups the opposite direction for left-hand guitars?
No.
Martian Murray, I heard a mod to Jazzmaster pickups are just overwound Strat pickups, so are they just P90s?
No. They're just a Strat pickup with a little more wire on them. Overwound is kind of a dumb word these days because there's so many winds now that it doesn't, you can't say overwound because compared to what? You know, the comparison has kind of gone away. But they are a little hotter. Yeah, they have a little more wine on them.
Brad Guitar Miller, did the hemispherical frets on my build? It took twice as long as everyone else doing fret work, but would do it again.
See, and now you understand why they cost like an extra $500 or $700 when you do it. Because if it took you 7 hours to do it, and it took somebody else 2.5 hours or 3 hours to do their guitar, that still scales even with skill. So maybe it doesn't take a guy 7 hours to do it. Maybe it takes him 3 hours, but it only takes him an hour and a half to do a regular fret job. Like, everything still does scale, and so that's why those options cost more. It is for sure. And I hate to bring this up, but I don't hate to bring it up. I have no regrets. Just because you see a feature on a Harley Benton for $200 doesn't mean that now that feature should be available on a legitimate guitar company's guitar for an unreasonably low price. I'm just going to leave it at that, but just because you see that doesn't mean it needs to exist anywhere else at that price, or can exist anywhere else at that price.
Curtis Chavez says, how many blades were lost to the EMG cutting project?
None. Well, no. The answer is 2. I actually started to use a saber saw, like a body cutting saw, like where you would cut fenders on cut a quarter panel off a car. And it didn't work. The steel wasn't hard enough, and so I switched to a fiber cutting wheel, and it was way better.
Eric Davis says Firebird pickup sets and 2 or 3 pickup sets.
Yep. We're going to do 2 or 3 pickup sets and singles. Correct.
All right, last question. It is 9 o'clock. Rusty Shackelford says, why don't I know more or care about Jazzmasters? Am I missing something? Demos haven't seemed to help me much.
Have you ever taken a picture of your guitar on the floor with your shoes? If the answer is no, there's probably a reason why you don't play a Jazzmaster. What? It's true. If you have a Jazzmaster, you have to put it on the floor with your pedal board and then have some sort of fancy shoes with the shoes showing in the picture. Take a picture of it and put it on Instagram. It's the flat lay of Jazzmaster land.
I got nothing.
Sorry.
All right. Tell them what 9 o'clock
Oh,
is.
9 o'clock means it's off-topic hour. So, we're going to talk about anything we want or anything you want. You can ask any question you want. We might answer it. We've said no to a question or two in the past. Not very often, though. If you ask a guitar question, we will ignore it unless it's a super chat. After 9 o'clock, the only way you can ask a guitar question is with a super chat, but we will still answer them.
C Stone said along with the link to buy the shoes.
Oh, you need a link to buy the shoes? They would probably be...
I just think he's saying they're like affiliates too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you can have these shoes too.
Yeah. I should do like a... That gives... See, I have all these video ideas and I have not enough time to do it. If I could be a full-time YouTuber, I would have so much fun. Because I would have time to make the fun stuff. Because I would do like a... This is... If you're a jazz master... This is like the 5 essentials for jazz master guys video.
Go ahead.
Right? The 5 essentials for Les Paul guys. The 5 essentials for Strat
You'd
guys.
have like a lot of parody
yes,
videos.
and I would have all these... Yes.
Marcia Murray says, I do my jazz master pick barefooted. Thank you very much.
Ew.
Oh.
I don't want to see your bare feet, and I don't want to see Crocs.
Who just told us they...
Jim, last night. He said he ran into somebody, had a conversation with him, found out that her husband was the guy that designed Crocs.
I was like,
And I was
why
like,
have I heard a story about Crocs?
Did you poke him in the eye with a pencil? Like John Wick. Or no,
it's
the
brilliant.
Joker.
They're so popular. Like,
I guess. It's not my thing.
it don't have to be your thing for it to be popular.
Well, obviously.
All right. Where's the questions?
They're just going to sit there and stare at us until they come up with some kind of
That's
question to
weird.
ask.
That would be weird.
Or we could just have awkward silence. But people usually hang out for this part. And they are hanging out for this part now. There are 106 of you.
Angel Raven 444 says, question, how much is a nice or decent house in your area of Georgia these days?
Probably pushing 300,000
Or more now.
or more. It depends.
It's a little wild right now, yeah.
It's kind of all over the place right now. If you're going to go into a new neighborhood and buy like and let's say you're going to, put a deposit down and build a new house in a new neighborhood, that's a relatively starter house, 1,500. Well, that's the thing. They're not building 1,500 square foot houses
they're
anymore.
building big houses.
They're building 2,500 square foot houses.
I think that's because everybody thinks that's what they need.
It is. That's
well,
what you're
work
right.
at home too. Everybody needs an office
It's
now.
true, yeah. I would say for those, you're looking between probably, you could get one that starts at $275, but you're probably going to pay $350 by the time you check all the boxes and do all the stuff.
It is. We understand it's still relatively affordable compared to other places in the country, but it is. The prices have gone up here just like anywhere else.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, we drove around the country for 2 years looking for. Oh, we should move here. We should move here, and we come back here because that is not by any means economical, but it is better than other places, and we know that. So. Yep. But I mean, we live in an apartment right now because we've tried to avoid the craziness that has been the house market for the last 2 years, probably.
Yep. Jason Albert said, I was listening to the first half on the way home. You guys said you were married 10 years. My wife and myself just celebrated our 17th anniversary yesterday.
Oh, happy anniversary. That's very cool. Yeah.
Box Guitars Rock says, fuel injection or dual quads?
Oh, fuel injection all day. All day.
Sean McMillan, how about a Bigfoot Jazzmaster meme?
I mean, we could do that. Like with shoes.
Paul Neat said, I've been sitting here watching you all show, guys. Good point. Fair point.
Yeah, and he's in England, so he's staying up late for this job.
No.
Yeah. I appreciate you.
Rusty Shackelford said, "Did you hear ChatGPT learned how to lie and beat the CAPTCHA?"
I did.
You did? I didn't hear that.
They banned ChatGPT in Italy.
Oh.
There's a whole thing about did you see there's like this open letter to the world, whoever, I don't know who they is or whatever. My dad wrote a song one time called So They Say, and it's about like who they is. Cuz he always say, well, they say. Well, who's they? Right? There's always this
Good
like
question.
Oh, they. It's like the internet, but they. Anyway, apparently a whole bunch of people, Elon Musk and a whole bunch of, really smart computery people. I think Steve Wozniak signed this open letter, and it was like, we need to stop AI development before it like terminators the world.
Adam Knox says, "Back in November, I was trying to make ChatGPT self-aware. I got bored because it wasn't smart enough." And then he says, "Yet." And then somebody said, Sunbase said, "Adam Knox, you just described a couple of my coworkers."
You have coworkers that are not. I know a lot of human beings that are not at all self-aware. So I don't know why we're trying to work on computers already.
This is a good question. Armando Lopez. In some corners of the internet, I am in that corner, land acknowledgements are becoming more and more ubiquitous. As an indigenous person, how do you feel about it?
Land acknowledgements? What does that mean exactly?
Like, we're on Muskogee land right now.
So that's an interesting thing. You all know already that I have that shirt that says you are on native land. And every time I wear that shirt, somebody in the comments is like, "We took that land from you fair and square." I'm like, okay, well, I mean, bows and arrows to a pile of guns. Is it really fair and square? A, and you also brought a bunch of gonorrhea and stuff and killed everybody. So, whatever. Like, whatever STD you brought over here, you killed everybody. So, and rats and all kinds of other stuff. So I don't know necessarily that it was fair and square. What is the best way to explain this? I grew up not far from where my original tribe and my family and ancestors are from. And we went to the reservation regularly. And we also, we had Native American culture around, but I grew up largely Anglo, which is, if you're an indigenous person in the United States, a lot of times you'll say that because the Anglo people came. It's probably an old term. Maybe it's inappropriate. I don't know. But I don't know what else to say besides that. I grew up very anglicized, like electricity and not just that, but no culture. Like, I didn't know what my clan was. I didn't know all the family ancestry, all that kind of stuff. I didn't know any of that stuff when I was a kid until very recently. And I also lived on the Navajo Indian Reservation for a couple of years, the Hopi Indian Reservation for a couple of years. And so I really got to learn how important native land is to people who are indigenous, because they are losing, by the minute, they are losing the identity of their culture as it gets assimilated into the rest of society around them. And I feel that that's very sad, because they have very special cultures. All these Native American tribes have very special cultures. So I am not an activist in the sense that I want to uphold it, like, and be crazy about it. And I'm not going to go stand in a field and say, you can't screw a light bulb in here or something. I'm not going to say those things. But I am very interested in Native American history, Native American culture, and very respectful of people who it is important to, because it is being taken away. And if you look into the history of what has happened to Native people in the United States and in Canada, Indigenous people in Canada as well, it wasn't just taken away. It was torn, beaten, abused away in very, very, very extreme terms. And so I encourage anybody who feels sensitive about these kind of conversations, because many people do, and I respect that you may feel that way. But what I would say is go out of your way to learn about all of that stuff, because not only is it not history, it's happening right now still. Like, there are things that are happening to people that I know. All this stuff happens right now. It's still happening. I mean, I have friends that were kidnapped by religious groups. I know them. That were kidnapped by religious groups and forced to not speak their language. So, those things are real. So I think to respect that stuff is really important. I'm not going to go stand on a corner and make a bunch of waves and not let somebody do something. And, I'm not a noisy person like that. But I will do what I can, like wear a t-shirt, to just make people think about where they are. And we have an app. What's that app called?
Well, that's the spirit of the land acknowledgement. So
That's probably a huge tangent, but I don't talk about this very much.
It's put out. It's actually a Canadian website, but yeah, you can put in your location anywhere, and it'll tell you what. So we used it a lot when we traveled. Mm-hmm. So in the simplest spirit of land acknowledgement and knowing what land you're currently on, yes, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's really neat. And what's really cool is you put it in this app, and it's like, this tribe was here, and then it will tell you, like, some history, like, this is why they're not here anymore, or
Yeah.
And there's some tribes that are around because other tribes kicked their ass. So, like, it's not just, I mean, there were some wars going on. So it wasn't just the influx of, people coming in from other continents. It was also internal, too. So you got to give them that, too. But, yeah, and I don't mean to get off on a whole thing about it, but I guess I did. But I think it's really interesting stuff. More than I'm not really like an activist about it, but I am very interested in it, and I really respect people that want to be concerned with it. Some of my other family members are more concerned about it than I am, just because of where we are in life. So
Robert Wilkinson said, some humans that are not self-aware. I just spit up my drink through my nose. And Doc Seltenen said, colonization was never fair and square.
No. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one, because I don't want to sound, I don't know. I always look at everything from, like, human being perspective. Like, what happened to this person? What is their story? How did they end up here? More than who they actually are. Like, I don't care who you are, like, where you come from or whatever, in the sense of I would avoid a particular person based on where they came from. I just want to know about them, their history and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, stuff's neat. Human beings are cool.
Doc Seltenen, sprint races on F1, yes or no?
I
feel like they've grown on you.
I think they're cool. They really mess up my weekend. I'm okay with them as long as there are a few. I don't want it to be the format. I think it'd be too expensive, because there will inevitably be wrecks. And with the cost cap, that's a problem. With mileage and all that kind of stuff. And I like it in the fact that it equalizes the field somewhat, but also I think it would be too expensive with the cost cap thing. I want to see it, 3 or 4 times a year, not 23 times a year. Because it jumbles things up a little, so that's cool. What else is going on in there?
I don't know.
You're waiting for somebody to ask an interesting question.
Yeah, because they're still talking about, I think they're catching up. They might be a little behind. So they're talking about different things I know about. Curtis Chavez says, without the Navajo code talkers, we could all be speaking Japanese right now.
That is really true. Actually, I have a friend. Well, he's passed on now. But I had a Navajo friend. His name was Frank. And he was a Navajo code talker. And it was a very interesting story to learn. Very interesting story.
Timothy Potter, thank you for the super chat. He says, do you say with a hard C? Celtic? Is that how you say it?
Yep. Not like
bad.
the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a Celtic white man. My ancestors immigrated in the early 1700s, and I don't think it was fair. We need to learn about all cultures, especially Native American culture. Ain't nothing human about the human race.
Yeah, I think we all can do our part to make it more human, and that's what these kind of conversations, where we're having these conversations and not angry ones. You know what I mean? I think that's what makes it more human.
I mean, the simple act of acknowledging that you are not the only human, that there are other humans.
Yes, and I appreciate that,
Yeah.
and that's why I like this. That's why I like hanging out like this, because we get to do this. You know, if you tried to just respond to a comment like this, there's no way it would come out. You know, that's why, like, when people make those comments on the videos when I wear that shirt, I don't respond to them. Because there's...
And you don't know their intent. Even
Right.
earlier when you answered the question about, what did you go on a rant about?
I don't know. Probably something.
Oh, why pickups were expensive. The guy was like, I think you took that too personal. Like, apparently that wasn't his intent of the question.
Yeah.
But he was like, I think you took that too personal. So
And you know
also,
what?
you just don't know what the intent of a question is.
Yeah, and if you're still here about that pickup thing, I don't take it personal at all whatsoever, because if you don't buy my stuff, somebody else will. Like, I take it almost probably too impersonally. Like, I just don't care. If you don't like what I would do, then I don't care. Because you kind of have to, you know. I like, the reason I do those things and go off about that stuff is not because I care about what you think of me. It's because I want to educate people and get a kind of a behind the scenes perspective on how all that stuff works, because I think we take for granted. I know I do. Like when I buy, I mean, I don't know why whiskey costs so much. It's like $100 a bottle for a good bottle of, you know, something. Why is it $100 when you can go get $25 stuff? You know what I mean? And you can get into the whole for the money conversation with that stuff. But I know that there is an artisan quality that goes into it, and there's probably all kinds of work that I don't understand.
And you don't have time to learn everything.
And I don't have time to learn everything, but that's what I'm saying. I do it too. Like, why are bicycle tires so freaking expensive? I hate spending $90 for a bicycle tire. I don't know why they're that much. But I don't complain about it because I'm sure there's a reason. You know what I mean? And so educating is more than it is than taking personal, if that makes sense.
Doc just made a statement that will definitely make you want to go to see him if you didn't before.
What? He just bought a 911?
No.
Oh.
He said, I have a patient that is a professor of Ojibwa studies at Algoma University here in the Sioux. Super interesting guy to talk to. You should meet him.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah. I'm actually going to text you a question that I want you to ask him.
It's his patient. You think he's friends with him?
He's friends with all, yeah. I'm sure he is.
I'm not friends with my dentist.
Yeah, but your dentist isn't Doc, though.
That's true.
If your dentist was Doc, you'd be friends with your dentist.
Maybe.
And I think a lot of his patients are like, yeah, I'm friends with my dentist because he's cool.
Plus, it's Canada. Is it different in Canada?
Well,
Like,
everybody's
healthcare's
friendly in
different.
Canada.
Sorry.
Everybody's nice in Canada. It's like, Yeah. And their heads all do that thing. Dang it. I thought he bought a
Adam
911.
Knox says, by the way, about a topic earlier, I've been considering making meat-based vegetables. Is anyone interested? He said, I have adult friends who still won't eat vegetables. I thought maybe if I made a meat-based, it would help them transition.
Well, let's see. So can you roll some sausage into like a carrot shape or something?
I mean, isn't that what people do anyway? They like roll everything in bacon? Like bacon wrapped cabbage rolls and I don't know. Everybody wraps everything
Absolutely.
in bacon
Leslie
here.
needs a better dentist. He just texted me.
Oh man, that's funny.
That's really funny. I just saw a meme the other day and it was like, what do I do with this extra bacon? I don't understand the question.
I've heard how my dentist talks to the people he works with, and I would never be friends with him if he wanted to be friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's not nice.
I don't approve.
Gotcha.
But I've only seen him once. Really, it's all about the
The
hygienist.
hygienist, yeah.
She's nice. Intent is very hard to read online. That's very true.
It's true,
Box
yeah.
Guitars rock.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I stay out of the comments.
Where... Okay. I lost my place. Robert Wilkinson said, I need more Dylan philosophy in my life. That is a dangerous road.
Yeah.
Man, that's funny. All right. Angel Raven 444. Question. Dylan, I noticed you're very detail-oriented. So would you ever think to do a side project of a bike restoration in the future on this channel?
I probably wouldn't do it on this channel, but I would do it on a channel, on our other channel. But I have to have a place to do it, and I have to have a bike. And that is not in the immediate cards right now. But we are... I'm not saying never.
Box Guitars Rock says, all of the crazy Canadians' meanness goes into Canadian geese.
That's hilarious. They're poop, too.
Oh, who knew a bird could poop
Canadian
so much?
goose poop is terrible. It's like dog turds, only worse.
Oh, man, that's funny. Oh, you timed it out.
Do not disturbing. Yeah.
All right. No, I mean, I feel like we're just having conversations. There's like no real question.
That's okay.
What do you have
I'm
to
having fun.
conversate about?
I mean, I think I conversated
A lot.
a lot. It was more like a rant, but I think all that stuff is more important to me than I've been thinking about it a lot lately.
Have you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we were talking about, we were talking about the other day, I guess kind of after a fashion, how would I explain this in a public setting? We were talking about family legacy the other day, and kind of, and where, you know, and some cultures have it and some don't more. Native American cultures generally really do, but we're not going to have one because none of us have kids with our name on it. So it doesn't really matter, I guess. Oh well. The buck stops here. What else you got?
Nothing.
Well,
What you got?
that's okay.
I don't even personally have anything because I'm
Your brain's pretty fried.
tired
You've had a long
and I've
week.
only worked so I don't have anything like extra that I've done or thought about.
This week has been really hard.
It's Masters Week.
It's
here.
Masters Week here, which means traffic's crazy. There's tons of people in town. I've got a project not guitar related. I'm shooting video for Masters. That came up out of nowhere, and it's a big deal. And so I'm working on that. I'm working on a bunch of other stuff. And being gone last week, the whole thing with the Phil McKnight video coming out and then immediately leaving for Colorado was just like, oh no. I honestly thought we would sell some pickups. I didn't know. I had no idea. But we've been consistently busy ever since. Which is great. It's awesome.
Yeah,
But
just the timing. You
the
couldn't have
timing,
planned the timing.
right. The timing with leaving.
All of it was really cool, though.
Yeah, it was so fun. And it is fun. It's really fun. Yeah. And I ran out of shipping boxes. More are coming tomorrow. So Uline is like the next day. So it's cool. But yeah, you're just a bunch of little things, You're just fighting through a pile of stuff. And I want to do all these more cool things. And so I'm trying to not put them off anymore. I keep saying I'm just so busy I can't get to it, but that's not fair. We need to keep pushing ahead with cool stuff.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Doc Siltonen. Hey, do you have access to the Delta Lounge when you travel?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think we have enough miles.
I don't know how it works.
I don't either.
That would be a no. Timothy Potter, do you guys have any recreational travel plans for this summer? I love that he specified recreational. No.
No, we do not. We don't have a vacation plan for this summer. Mm-mm. We don't have time.
We will make time.
I know, but if you,
do that.
on the face of it, if you look at it right now,
I know.
every month has something in it.
I know. It's going to be gone.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our van is for sale, and so I haven't been really using it a lot. We actually need to use it.
Unless you want to buy a van.
Yeah, if you want to buy a van so I can go on vacation. I'm just kidding. No, we're kind of focused this year. We're trying to really focus on some stuff.
I don't know that we planned it this way.
No, but it just kind of happened. We fell into some cool things. Busyness. It's all cool things. It's all building to some very cool things. But it just means some focus that we... And I'm literally realizing right now that we did not plan a vacation.
Yeah, because I don't know. So that's
I don't know that we've thought about it. I don't know that I've thought about the fact.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem, though, is because
we've integrated work with vacations for the last probably 4 years.
We didn't last year. We did really good last year and took a vacation in the summer. But
we did.
It's also hard because it's hard for you to literally not work because of the way YouTube works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that being said, I could not go on vacation right now.
Right, because of between the work trips and obligations, if you added a vacation on top of that, that's like less working days for you, which is hard. Yeah,
so I'm working on the road 3 weeks this year at least, probably more. And so that's 3 weeks that I don't sit here and work. And those 3 weeks that I'm on the road create more work. And we are busier than we were last year. And so for me to take any time off, it's hard. It's getting harder. And that's what it's one of the things I'm working on this year, though, is to try to figure out how to do that properly. Because you can't just work all the time.
It's not sustainable.
No.
Jason Albert, if you mentioned it before, I missed it. But what knife do you have tonight?
Oh, this is a Medford Smooth Criminal. So it is it's really cool, actually. It's, I don't know why that thing didn't want to focus. I'm going to block your face.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. It's a flipper. S35VN, I think. It's really neat. Hollow grind. Super smooth, but it's like a gravity shut, like so you can flip it. I really like it a lot. I don't carry it very often.
Angel Raven 444 question: what's the scariest encounter with, say, a cottonmouth or gator or spider? Have you had any scary experiences?
Scorpions in your shoes. In Arizona, you have to flip your shoes over if you leave them outside so they don't. So, and I've had snakes on trails before, rattlesnakes on trails. in the desert. I've not had anything scary here.
I've had cottonmouths in the lake.
Oh, have you?
I've had a gator in another lake. Not that I was in a boat. And I wanted pictures, and this was before cameras were good, so I was like, scoot closer, scoot closer. And you know some stuff about him, right? But when that thing, like, rolled, I was like, let's go. I don't know where it went. I gotta go. Because we were, like, not in a big boat.
Right.
Spiders. We have a lot of black widows here. And the scariest, like, snake encounter is... I had many when I lived on land out further. And there was, like, one on the back step. One went up under the house. Like, I had to get, like, a neighbor to come get it out. Like, I'm not going under there with a snake.
Mm-hmm.
But never, like, been bit or attacked or... You just have to be real careful here.
I had a friend who lived in Florida.
Somebody said they saw a gator off the Greenway. I don't even know where that would be.
That would be probably down towards the canal more.
Where does the Greenway meet the canal?
Off the end of it. You can ride your bike from there all the way down, and then it goes down.
To the canal path? The Greenway connects to the canal path? The North Augusta
Maybe not,
Greenway.
maybe not. Oh, the North Augusta Greenway. Well, it goes down there by Brick Pond, don't it?
Oh, it does.
Yeah, and there's tons of gators at Brick Pond.
This was a big one, though.
Really?
This was a big one.
Huh.
Anyway. I think I'm way behind because I was like
That's
trying
okay.
not lose my place. Rusty Fenders, did you have a good time in Denver? That Friday wind was crazy. I had my emission paper in the door and it went out flying.
Dude, it was so windy.
Oh, is Rusty Rusty, are you the one in Golden?
The whole building was shaking. It was crazy. Crazy windy. The trash cans took off down the street. We had to go get them.
Van Shankachar said, I saved money with the power off for almost 36 hours. That is brutal. Is it cold there, Ivan? Doc Silton said, travel plans? ... Canada? Oh, and Van Shake says, agreed, Doc.
Oh, yeah. We would have to make a whole circuit through Canada now, wouldn't we? Dan Andratis he's in Canada, too.
Is he?
Yeah. But I think he's in BC or something. Or maybe, I think he's further west, though, like Saskatchewan.
Angel Raven 444 says, hey, Dylan, a good business idea is buying a 300-foot ship and do booze cruises. Any lakes or waterways in your area?
No, I'm not doing a boat business.
Booze cruise.
No.
Problem is, I don't like drunk people.
That is also true. Drunk people are annoying.
John OJF says road trip, plane, or train.
Road trip every time.
Road trip.
Yeah, road trip every time. There are some train trips I would like to take. I'd like to go across Japan on a train.
I've never been on a train.
Japan or Europe on a train would be cool, but United States on a train is, I'd rather drive it. My parents did across the country on a train once. Without us.
Oh, he's in Glendale.
Cool.
All right, I'm caught up.
That's all right. I mean, it's 9:35. It's cool. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us this week. And, off topic, half hour, 35 minutes.
So they had a
cool.
full day of freezing rain, so I think it's cold there.
So it's still cold. Yeah. Hopefully your power comes on soon. I think he said he was going to stay in a hotel tonight, so he didn't have to deal with it.
Well, he said, he's obviously online, so I'm assuming he's somewhere with
power.
With something.
Yeah.
I hope you're not wasting your cell phone on us.
I know, right?
You don't have power.
Exactly. Awesome, you guys. Well, we're going to get off of here and go to bed.
He said,
I'm tired.
Doc Silton had said, Dan is in Ontario. Frank Brothers Guitars in Toronto. We can make it a circuit. Cross the border in the Sioux, head south to Toronto, cross over again in New York.
That sounds
If you
awesome.
come to Canada, we can put you up if you're near Niagara Falls. That's what Vox Guitars Rocks it.
Oh.
So there's
we could like do a whole
quite a few
thing,
Canadians.
man. That's cool. That's cool. Well, as soon as Doc buys his 911, we will go.
That is so rude.
He knows I'm joking.
I hope so.
All right.
Somebody really has to know you to get you.
Yeah, you know. What are you going to do?
Otherwise, you're just inappropriate.
Well, that too. You guys, it's been cool. I guess we will see you on Monday with a new video. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for all the super chats tonight. And we will see you soon.